Hey guys, what's up? It's GMT and welcome back to another Survive the Night video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be talking about the lore inside of this game because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of lore in the game that could be entirely true to these theories actually being proven. We have quite a bit of theories to go through today that deal with two specific characters inside of Survive the Night. That's something that I want to go ahead and just throw out right away before we even get started on this video. So when we normally talk about lore inside of a video game, it has to deal with specific stuff inside of just that video game, like stuff that was made from that video game. So with that being said, we're not going to be talking about specific killers that people would know before entering the game. And a good example to go ahead and show you guys about this is like people would know who Ghostface is before they enter Survive the Night. People would know who the Lady is before they enter Survive the Night. Ghostface is from the Scream movies and Lady is from Resident Evil. All of the killers that are in Survive the Night pretty much follow this specific path. You're going to know who they are before you even enter the game. But the two main slashers today that we're going to be talking about for this lore video is going to be the Murch and the Nightfall. These are two killers and two slashers that you would not have an idea about before entering Survive the Night or Before the Dawn, which we're going to go ahead and get into that as well. I went ahead and got on call with Anamo, who knows a lot about the lore inside of this game, and he has some theories that we went ahead and talked about as well. So this episode of Survive the Night is pretty much going to be like a little podcast, kind of me just going ahead and talking about all the findings that I found and all the findings that other people have found as well, and some of the comments that we got from my little community post that I did yesterday. Literally talking to everyone who went ahead and threw me their ideas. It all had to do with the Nightfall. I didn't really hear a lot about the Murch, but that's good because my theories that we're going to be talking about after we talk about your guys' stuff has a lot to do with the Murch. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in today's episode. So let's go ahead and get started with Before the Dawn. Before the Dawn was the game before Survive the Night came out. It was another slasher-based, survivor horror game like Dead by Daylight. It was another one of those types of games. However, Nightfall played a huge part in it, is what I've been told. I myself have never played Before the Dawn. I actually didn't know about Survive the Night till the Chaniac Killer came out, I think it was. I think right when the Chaniac Killer came out, that's when I was just entering Survive the Night. Otherwise, before that, I didn't know about any existence of any other game before Survive the Night or Survive the Night in general. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about might make sense to you guys who've played Before the Dawn or other games made by the same dev team that have to deal with Nightfall. But to me, this is kind of me just talking about the findings that people have had. So let's go ahead and talk about what you guys were talking about in the comments and what Anomal had to go ahead and say as well. So the Nightfall is a slasher that you can get in Survive the Night by coin currency now. The only way to go ahead and actually get Nightfall before was by getting killed by him. If someone was using that slasher and then he would hit you and you died to him, that's how you could get that slasher. But that, unfortunately, that's not how it works anymore. With this whole Nightfall event coming out, the only way to go ahead and actually get him now is by getting the coins and using coin currency to go ahead and purchase Nightfall for 200 coins. So what I've been told a lot of stuff about Nightfall in the past games before Survive the Night. We have some games here called Before the Dawn, Night Shift, Slash, all of these games made by the same dev team but aren't really actually paired together in terms of the game. But the lore, perhaps. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here is Nightfall and how he was created in a lab, and then he actually broke out due to a power outage, and he started his little infection or killing spree on many people and spreading the so-called virus that people are talking about. What is this lab? Okay, who is even Nightfall? Like what did I just throw at you guys? The comment who actually went ahead and said a lab, I actually paired this up with another comment where they said that it was something to do with the Deluge, however you say it, the D Mountain. It's where the virus was originally originated, and it was a lab that was hidden inside of a mountain. So this was some type of secret co-op mission or a co-op little base experiment that these scientists were going ahead and actually experimenting on, and they were either experimenting on Nightfall in general, or they had something that completely went out of hand and actually created Nightfall without them actually knowing. So therefore, this is where the virus began. They were talking about something with a power outage, which is why Nightfall actually got ahead and got out of his cell or cage, whatever he was locked up in, escaped, and started this little infection spree thing. And then there was actually two other comments as well that were kind of relating to this little Nightfall breakout deal here. There was a game that was titled BTD Night Shift, which was a prequel between the lore, and it was made by the same dev team who went ahead and did stuff with this Deluge Mountain game. And it was about a project called 0011. Now this could obviously be referring to the infection or Nightfall himself. I have no idea. Or those could be combined together, either being like in a Nightfall infection, something like that. And another comment went ahead and said that there was another BTD game called Slash, which had some mentions of a Nightfall virus. So with all this Nightfall virus stuff going around in multiple games, and by multiple comments as well from people playing those different games, I think it's safe to say that Nightfall was some type of creature that was created in a lab, and he was very contagious. He ended up breaking out and spreading his virus to other people. Now, of course, this would make sense because the way to actually obtain Nightfall before was by literally getting infected, by having the Nightfall kill you, therefore you could get the Nightfall Slasher. So it was almost like he was spreading his infection to you. So that could be a very possible situation where this could actually be some like true lore inside of the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nightfall as well. He has 3 holes in his chest. Now, there were some people who were mentioning this Nightfall virus saying, well, those 3 holes could possibly be from like injection spots where the scientists were going ahead and testing Nightfall. And the other theory is that these could be 3 bullet holes from the murch. So now we're going to go ahead and actually get started into the murch topic here. We're going to start talking about the murch, which leads me to my theories inside of Survive the Night. Since I don't have any experience with Before the Dawn, all of the Before the Dawn talk is pretty much over. Thanks to you guys in the comments, and thanks to Anomal for going ahead and sharing your wisdom with me, sharing your theories and all your comments, to going ahead and actually trying to make a Before the Dawn type of theory lore inside of this video. So now we're going to go ahead and just talk about Survive the Night, okay? This game could possibly not even be linked to Before the Dawn at all. Survive the Night could just be its own game, just using these different characters in Nightfall himself. So that if that's a possibility, let's go ahead and get started into my little theories here. These are just going to be Survive the Night based. Let's get started. Let's get into my first theory here. Which I am calling it the dark matter outbreak. So basically in Survive the Night, there's this thing called dark matter. That's what I'm calling it anyways. It's this little purple infection stuff that you can see all over the cabin, okay? You can actually see this dark matter not only infecting people, but objects as well. That's why we can actually go ahead and get these question mark items inside of the game, like the question mark avatar and even the question mark lamp. It's this type of substance that doesn't only just affect people, but it's infecting these other types of items. So it's making it like a very contagious virus, okay, like we were just talking about in Before the Dawn. And we have no idea what this is actually called. I'm just calling it dark matter because that's what it reminds me of. That's why we have no clue about any past history with Nightfall or anything to do with the items you can actually get in the game. That's why they're called question mark, because we have no idea what it actually is with the lamp and the avatar that you can get in the game. So let's go into this dark matter outbreak, okay? Obviously, Nightfall, okay? He has purple in his eyes. He has purple from bleeding spots in the wounds that we were talking about. So this Nightfall character has been infected with said dark matter, okay? Something's happened to him. He's a contagious person going around infecting everything. My theory is that Nightfall was either a person infected with the dark matter, or he is the creator of this dark matter. I know that's going to pretty much blow the minds up of people and like saying, okay, wait, what? What if Nightfall was actually a person who went ahead and created this virus, but it got out of control and he was the first one infected by it? Which leads us to the murch, okay? The murch is either a bounty hunter that was hired to take care of the outbreak, or the murch was someone on the job as well. Or the murch was also someone infected with the virus as well. We'll get into that, okay? So we have 3 things to talk about here. Either murch is a bounty hunter hired to take care of this outbreak, or the murch is a good friend of the Nightfall before, like past tense, before he actually got infected, and he was teamed up with this experiment, going ahead and actually trying to solve and create this whatever they were creating inside the lab, okay, the dark matter. Or the murch was also a creation that just went rampant inside of this either laboratory or whatever they were doing inside of this cabin. There could be like an underground lab somewhere there. Like we could be inside of the mountain, okay? That's why it's snowing inside the lobby, okay? Normally when you're high up in these mountains or just in the middle of nowhere as well, in said mountain, it tends to snow up there quite a bit because the temp that you actually reach to go up there is pretty freezing cold, and that's why you see snow on top of mountains. So it's very possible that this cabin issued in the lobby is on top of a mountain, and there could be a lab under the cabin. So let's talk about these 3 things, all right? So what if Murch is a bounty hunter? It's very possible. And how do we prove that Murch is actually a bounty hunter? Technically, when you're a bounty hunter inside of a video game, you tend to have a lot of things that you are equipped with. You don't just have a weapon and you go around doing your job like some type of FPS shooter. No, you have a packed equipment. You have all the stuff on you to go ahead and not just only survive yourself, but to survive on the journey that you're going out to because you're hunting down a specific target. You're not going back to base camp every day. You're going out and trying to take down this target. And with Murch that we know of, a lot of items actually have came out from him, so it's safe to say that Murch is possibly a bounty hunter. I think it's very possible that Murch is a bounty hunter. He has all this gear on him. So if Murch is a bounty hunter, it's very possible that he was hired by the scientific lab crew to go ahead and actually take care of the Nightfall, to get rid of this virus that it's in an outbreak situation right now. Now let's go on to the second thing that we're talking about here. What if the Murch was actually a worker and the Murch knew the Nightfall before anything actually happened with said outbreak? So the Murch and the Nightfall and their past selves as humans, as scientists, were going ahead and working on this experiment, and then something happened, went into an outbreak, and it infected the Nightfall. And now he is some type of monster that has to be taken down. Okay, it's out of control. He has to kill him. If we go ahead and take a look at one of the voice lines by the Murch, he says,
"It's gonna hurt me a lot more than it's gonna hurt you. Trust me."
This is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. And we even have sentences by Rage Jumper going, or Ratch Jumper, however you say his name, who's the owner of the game, by the way, went ahead and said, you guys got to pay close attention to the voice lines by the Murch because this has a lot to do with the lore. So what if this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you is referring to the Murch having to kill the Nightfall because they knew each other before this outbreak started. What if they were good friends? Something like that. So not only does the Murch have to kill this experiment, which showed like potential progress, they have to end it all, but he's also killing like one of his friends. That could be a possibility. But if that's not the case at all, then these voice lines could actually be referring to the Murch having to go ahead and just kill innocent people because they were infected with this virus. That's why he says, let's just get this over with. This is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. I'm not afraid of you, stuff like that. The Murch was hired to go ahead and just kill innocent people so this outbreak wouldn't spread anymore. Of course, this is a job that not a lot of people could do. I probably couldn't even do this job, okay? If I was hired to go ahead and just kill innocent people, even people that I possibly knew, just because they got infected with this virus, that's definitely going to take a toll on your mental stability, and you got to live with that for the rest of your life, just killing people. I think it's a huge possibility that Murch is not liking the job that he's doing. That's why he has these voice lines. Or, like we said before, the Murch could be just killing off someone that he knew, which would have been the Nightfall. But let's go into my other theory now that I have with the Murch being like another creation. So what if the Nightfall was just some type of scientific lab rat that they were testing all these experiments on, and it got into an outbreak? We see the face of the Nightfall, okay? He's some type of lizard dude, but he does like have a little bit of human characteristics, okay? The Murch, we actually never see his face, and the voice lines that come from the Murch are pretty like robotic, okay? They're pretty animated. And we know that the Nightfall doesn't actually speak human language, okay? He just screams. So what if the Murch is like the same species as the Nightfall, but he has all this equipment that allows him to actually go ahead and communicate with English. So he has this mask on which has some type of receiver that he talks into, and it translates his screams into like an automated message, which is why we could hear the Murch actually speaking. This could be possible because we don't ever see the Murch, okay? He has this hood and mask on the entire time. So could he be someone with the Nightfall? We have no idea yet. But that's just a theory. So is it one that a lot of people have thought about? Probably not. Is it possible? It definitely could be. But that's pretty much all that I have to talk about with you guys. That is lore based inside of Survive the Night. We went ahead and talked about the Murch in general, talked about everything to do with the Murch and the Nightfall, how they were combined, and just the Murch and either his mission, job, or just himself, what he could possibly be to this lore inside of this video game. And we also went ahead and talked about some games before Survive the Night release and how they were actually connected with Survive the Night or with some characters inside of Survive the Night, like the Nightfall. He was both showed in a lot of BTD games and Survive the Night itself. What do you guys think about this lore? Do you think a lot of it could be true? Do you think a lot of it could either be tied together and some parts could go with some parts to actually make this lore pretty true? Or do you think that none of this is true? I want to hear your guys' opinions, and I also want to hear some of your guys' thoughts on your lore and some of your guys' thoughts on just this lore as well. I want to hear everything that you guys have to say because it's possible that we could actually hear some responses from either Rach himself or some of the dev team members inside the comments down below. Without further ado, guys, that's it from me. My name's JMT, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.